For 7 minutes, the whole world stopped inside that empty conference hall. A powerful CEO, feared by her staff, respected by every investor, looked at the janitor sweeping the floor and whispered the strangest words he had ever heard. "Please, pretend you love me. Just for 7 minutes." No one else was there to see it. No cameras, no recorders. Just a woman who carried the weight of a city on her shoulders, and a single dad who barely made enough to keep the lights on. And what happened next changed both of their lives forever. Before we dive into this emotional story, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more heartwarming stories to life. This is your channel name, where stories remind us that kindness still matters. Marcus Hayes never expected life to look like this. At 37, he worked the night shift as a janitor in one of the tallest buildings in downtown Chicago. He used to dream of becoming a musician, but dreams became luxuries once he became a single dad. His 8-year-old daughter, Lily, had asthma, and her medication cost more than his rent. So Marcus learned to survive. And he learned to smile, even when his heart felt heavy. Every night, he pushed his cleaning cart through the corporate hallways of Hartwell Industries, a billion-dollar empire run by a CEO named Evelyn Hartwell. People called her the Iron Lady of Illinois. She built companies like other people built grocery lists, quickly, precisely, without hesitation. Employees lowered their voices when she walked by. Investors stood straighter. Even the board treated her like she ran the world. But Marcus had only seen her once, from a distance, stepping into a black car surrounded by assistants. She didn't look cruel, just tired. The kind of tired that sits deep in the bones. One rainy Thursday night, Marcus was mopping the floor near the top-floor conference room when he heard something unusual, soft crying. He froze. Crying? At this hour? He peeked through the slightly open door. And his heart nearly dropped. It was Evelyn Hartwell herself, sitting alone at the long glass table, head in her hands, shoulders trembling. There were papers scattered everywhere, a half-empty bottle of water, and a phone screen glowing with dozens of missed calls. Marcus stepped back, unsure. This was the most powerful woman in the building. What was he supposed to do? Walk away? Pretend he didn't hear anything? He tried to return to his cart, but the sound of one quiet sob stopped him cold. He knew that sound. He had cried like that the night Lily was hospitalized and the doctor handed him a bill he couldn't afford. He had cried like that when he found his wife's goodbye letter on the kitchen table. He had cried like that when he realized no one was coming to help. So he knocked lightly on the open door. "Ma'am? Are you okay?" Evelyn jerked upright, wiping her face fast, trying to hide her tears like someone shutting curtains before the neighbors notice. "Oh, Marcus, right?" He was surprised she knew his name. "Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry if I interrupted." "No," she cut in softly. "You didn't." She tried to stand, but her knees shook. Her face was pale, her eyes red, and she looked like a woman whose world had been punched in the chest. For a few seconds, she stared at Marcus, not with her usual CEO stare, but with a quiet kind of desperation. Then she whispered something so unexpected he thought he misheard. "Can you stay a moment? Just, don't leave yet." He nodded slowly. "Of course." She took a breath that sounded more like a collapse than an inhale. "Marcus. I need a favor. A strange one." He waited. "Pretend you love me," she whispered. "Just for 7 minutes. I just need someone to sit with me. To stop this panic. Just 7 minutes." Marcus blinked. His brain scrambled for an explanation, but none came. She looked at him with eyes full of fear, the kind of fear no boardroom could see, no company would understand. "My father," she said quietly, "passed away 2 hours ago in the hospital. I didn't make it in time. I was in a meeting, arguing about quarterly numbers while her voice cracked. I missed his last moments. And now everyone wants something from me. Calls. Statements. Signatures. Arrangements." A tear slid down her cheek. I haven't had anyone to just sit with me. I don't know how to be alone tonight. Marcus's chest tightened. He knew that feeling. That hollow space where grief echoes. He stepped in slowly, like approaching a wounded animal who might break if you made a sudden move. I can sit with you, he said softly. She nodded, trembling. Thank you. He didn't know what pretend you love me meant, but he sat beside her, not close, just enough that she felt someone was there. Someone who wasn't asking for anything. For the first minute, she said nothing. She stared at the table, breathing unevenly. At minute 2, her hands shook so badly Marcus gently placed his hand near hers, not touching, just close enough that she could reach for it if she wanted. At minute 3, she started talking. Not like a CEO, but like a daughter. He used to come to every school play, she said. Even when the other dads were too busy. He'd clap the loudest, even when I had no talent. Marcus smiled softly. Sounds like a great man. He was, she whispered. But I haven't visited him in months. Always another meeting. Another flight. Another crisis. At minute 4, she finally reached for Marcus's hand. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't inappropriate. It was a human being holding onto another human being because grief had made her seasick, and he was her anchor. At minute 5, she cried silently, and Marcus let her. He didn't try to fix anything. He didn't try to offer solutions. He just stayed. At minute 6, she leaned her head lightly against his shoulder, not out of affection, but exhaustion. A soul-deep exhaustion that only comes after years of pretending to be invincible. And at minute 7, she whispered, "Thank you. I can breathe again." Marcus nodded. Sometimes all we need is someone to sit with us. She lifted her head slowly, wiped her face, and tried to pull herself together, but this time, she didn't hide her humanity. "Why did you stay?" she asked quietly. "Because you asked," he said simply. "And because people should never have to face moments like that alone." She stared at him for a long moment, something changing in her expression. Something softening. "Marcus," she said slowly, "do you have a daughter?" He blinked. "Yes. Lily. She's 8. What's her favorite food?" "Mac and cheese. The kind with the powder packet. She says it tastes like happiness." For the first time that night, Evelyn smiled. "Children know things we forget," she murmured. A sudden knock interrupted them. One of her assistants burst in, clearly frantic. "Ms. Hartwell. The board is waiting for your statement." "Oh." She froze when she saw Marcus. Evelyn straightened, but this time she didn't hide her red eyes. "Tell them to wait 10 minutes, she said firmly. "And cancel tomorrow morning's meetings." The assistant blinked. "All of them?" "All of them." When the door closed, Evelyn turned back to Marcus. "You showed me something tonight," she said quietly. "Something I forgot existed in this building." "What's that?" "Kindness." She stood, still shaky, and looked down at him. "I can't repay what you gave me in those 7 minutes, she said. "But I can try to make this place better. For everyone." Marcus smiled shyly. "You don't have to repay me." "But I will," she insisted softly. "Not just for you. But for this company. For myself." She walked toward the door, then stopped. "Marcus, if you ever need anything, my door is open." He nodded, touched and surprised. When she left, the room felt different. Lighter. Warmer. As if those 7 minutes had unlocked something in the building and in her. The next morning, employees whispered that the CEO seemed human. Kinder. Softer. She greeted people. She paused to listen. She even visited the janitorial staff lounge just to say hello. But she never told anyone what happened in that conference room. Neither did Marcus. Some things are meant to stay between two souls who crossed paths at the exact moment one needed saving, and the other was strong enough to offer a hand. A week later, Marcus received a